We are coming on the air with breaking news. The attorney for the first grade teacher shot by her student in Newport News is set to hold a news conference any minute now. The future of leadership at Newport News Public Schools is very much up in the air. We've learned that Superintendent Dr. George Parker could lose his job in just about 6 hours. Oh, an update on the Chesapeake deputy shot in the line of duty. Deputy Scott Chambers is back on his feet. The sheriff's office shared this photo of him. The last 3 days, closer to 1,000 cases a day, well below that average of what had been closer to 2,200 cases a day. Let's check on some of our local cities, and we're seeing the same thing. We've been able to confirm through a law enforcement source in ABC News that the gunman is a Walmart employee. This number just coming in, 7 people have died in this mass shooting. That includes the shooter. We had it with Charlottesville, Virginia a week ago. We had it with Colorado Springs this week. Now we have it with your hometown of Chesapeake, Virginia, the latest mass shooting in America. This now marks 15 people shot in the heart of downtown Norfolk in the last 6 months. In fact, just 2 minutes ago, a business owner stopped me on his way into work and said this is the worst he's ever seen it down here. Over the next hour, we do hope to get a better idea of what we are experiencing in our neighborhoods, what's behind the violence, what law enforcement is doing about it. By show of hands, do you agree that gun violence is now a public health crisis? Would you call it that?
Yes.
Chief Boone, is it possible to leave a gang? If you say this is not what I thought it was going to be, can you leave and have hope for survival in Hampton Roads, or do you have to flee to another city, another state, if you have any hope of getting out of gang life and living?
You will have to leave the area.
Dan Kennedy, our friend and Secret Santa from our Norfolk affiliate, 13 News Now. He is there with them, and good morning to you, Dan.
This is the largest naval base in the world here at Naval Station Norfolk. As you mentioned, one lucky military family is going to be getting their layaway paid off. I've got the name right here in my pocket. And you see what that says? It's everyone! We'll send it back to you, Michael.
All right, Dan, thank you so much. How amazing is that?
I literally just looked down on the ground and found a nickel. I don't know what a nickel can do inside a casino.
Well,
Bethany and Ashley, I will tell you that I had every intention of going in here before the noon show to place a dollar bet on your respective football teams to win the Super Bowl next year.
You're so
Since
funny.
they're out of it this year. That obviously didn't happen. The line was a little too big. But, you know, maybe I can do something with this nickel for you.
So funny. Yeah, you keep that nickel.
Yeah.
Dan, that's for all your hard work today. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
They say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
What is up, guys? It is Joey here. I have a very unique property today. This is Newport News, Virginia.
But a 13 News Now investigation uncovered an ugly truth about some rundown homes for sale in Hampton Roads.
Yeah, this is broken.
A man linked to several Virginia-based LLCs uses social media like YouTube and Craigslist to sell homes like this, often in dire disrepair.
I don't ask questions. I just do my job and I sell them for you. Owner financing, no credit check.
We obtained one of the agreement for deed contracts between the LLC 72019 and one of its buyers. It came with a down payment of several $1,000s, with the rest financed at more than 15% interest. That's almost 3 times the interest a bank would charge today. Buyers get to move into the homes even though the deed remains in the LLC's name until all monthly payments are made, something that could take decades.
Ethically, it's wrong. Why are you going to sell something to somebody and say this is yours and legally it's not theirs? It's deceiving them.
Raina Howell talked to us on behalf of her client who signed one of those contracts. All he thought he was doing was buying a home.
Exactly.
Living the American dream.
That's what we want. We want our own home and hopefully our own business and continue on bettering our lives.
Her client started fixing up the home, and that caught the attention of the city's Codes Compliance Division, which found the property to be unsafe. An inspector condemned the home and put it on the demolition list. They wrote in an email to the buyer that any more work would require a structural engineer's report and permits. But Howell says her client can't get the proper permits because the home isn't in his name. Property records show the owner is actually Kilu LLC.
Yeah, that's usually how these work out because the sellers know that somebody moves in, they spend time and resources to fix it up. Eventually, they're going to default and you're going to evict them, and then you're going to have a better property than you started with.
We took the contract to attorney Eric Dunn, who specializes in property law. He calls sales like this scams, predatory, and possibly illegal.
I'm confident in saying that almost all these deals you're gonna find illegal things. It's just that, what's actually illegal about it will, differ a little bit from situation.
Just a few $1,000s in cosmetics and this house is yours.
Take this home on 24th Street in Newport News, which city inspectors found with code violations and work being done without permits. The buyer emailed the city saying, "As far as my husband and I know, we are the owners of this house. How do we find out if this is true? I mean, we are tired of being used." Our investigation found it's not true. Property records show the owner is LLC 72019. A judge may soon decide who is legally responsible for the repairs and upkeep on these homes. The LLC 72019 was cited to criminal court next month for failing to upkeep one home. We wanted to hear from the sellers, so we called and texted.
So just send me a text and I'll get back to you within the hour.
At least for us, no responses within the hour when we started asking questions like, what happens to the buyer and their down payment if they get evicted for missing payments?
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. People might not end up losing all this money.
For Raina Howell, she's worried the people who could least afford it may find themselves out of the homes they thought they owned. Dan Kennedy, 13 News Now.
An update now to our investigation into people buying homes only to find out they don't actually own them. New tonight, we hear from the seller after he appeared before a judge on charges related to one of those homes. He previously ignored our request for a sit-down interview. Dan Kennedy updates this 13 News Now investigation, broke and homeless.
Joey, we just wanted to get your opinion on what the judge had to say.
Not today.
Joey Chinese left the Newport News courtroom with orders from a judge and questions from us. Yeah, do you want to talk before September?
I guess we'll talk. I'll set up an appointment to talk with you guys, okay?
Chinese sells homes under the LLC 72019 to people in Hampton Roads. They're often in dire disrepair. And in the case of this house on 24th Street in Newport News, in violation of city codes. City officials cited him to court for failing to maintain that property through the proper permits. The judge had to decide who is responsible for the repairs, the seller or the tenants. Our investigation last month revealed some people buying these homes began fixing them up thinking they were the legal owners. But we found in many cases it's actually the LLC. And the judge sided with the findings of our investigation, telling Chinese in court, quote, "The occupant is not the owner. Your responsibility still lies with the city as title holder." Anything you want to say to people who bought these homes who think they're the owner, but it turns out the judge said you are in fact the owner?
They have equitable interest to purchase the property, sir.
In what, 30 years' time?
Or when they prepay, when they get their credit correct, sir.
One of the contracts had an interest rate of close to 17%. I mean, that's a little higher than you get from a normal bank today, yeah?
I guess it's about the same as a hard money loan, right?
Under oath, Chinese told the judge, quote, "I am the owner with 72019 LLC. We are the title holder until the loan is paid off." It's a change of tune from last month when, after our first story aired, this post on his Facebook page read, "If you purchase a home from me or any investor I work with, you are the legal homeowner." Tonight, that's now a claim disputed on the record by a judge. Chinese is due in court in September to update the judge on obtaining the proper permits for the repairs to that home on 24th Street, but he also faces a second criminal charge regarding disrepairs on another property. The judge will address that in September as well. Dan Kennedy, 13 News Now. On Seagull Street in the Outer Banks town of Rodanthe, waves batter beachfront homes. Wooden stilts bear the brunt of an ocean creeping ever closer.
If you're going to stand up there with your hand out and say, "Back, I say," to the Atlantic Ocean, you're going to lose.
Dare County Commissioner Danny Couch represents this part of the island where beach erosion is an immediate concern, especially for these 12 homes on Seagull Street. How much longer can these homes last where they stand today?
On a 3 to 5 year timetable, it's not going to happen. That's my opinion. If they can get 8, just the way it is, it'll be a miracle.
Couch and his fellow commissioners aren't waiting for a miracle. They voted unanimously to close Seagull Street. That allows the 12 homeowners to move their houses further inland, around 100 feet or so, giving them an extra buffer between their homes and the raging Atlantic. Moving these homes could cost up to $150,000 out of pocket, but homeowners don't have much of an option to just sit and wait it out. One told me this is their last stand with Mother Nature. About a mile south of Seagull Street, the sea already swallowed 3 Rodanthe homes this year. Officials are urging homeowners in direct danger to move to safer ground. And some, like Gus Guzzler, are listening.
Doesn't do anybody any good. And if you're a resident, a taxpayer, and a business owner in Dare County, you see houses floating out in the ocean.
Guzzler bought his Seagull Street home 5 years ago. Since then, he's watched bad storms wash out his driveway and bury 3 of his cars in sand and water. Still, he loves it here, and the only place he's considered moving is further down his property line.
We just got to do everything we can to preserve and protect the great thing that we've got down here. I mean, there's no place to go after this. Once we get houses moved back, this is it.
Guzzler wants to move his home back 140 feet, connect his driveway to NC-12, and plant some vegetation. He hopes it buys another decade or 2 in his home. Is this just kicking the can down the road and delaying the inevitable?
Yes, this is kicking the can and delaying the inevitable. There's a freight train out here called the Atlantic Ocean, and if you're going to be on the railroad track, expect the express to come through your living room on a regular basis.
In this Rodanthe neighborhood, homeowners dream of more time by the sea, knowing nothing is guaranteed when their backyard is the ocean. Dan Kennedy, 13 News Now.